Okay, on part 30, we left off where Robin was texting back and forth, letting officers know, Officer Manley, that she did have the thumb drive ready for him to pick up of the security footage from the store. So going on into part 31, we're going to have a supplemental report, and this is going to be dated on September the 20th. And it reads, on 8/17, Evidence Supervisor Purcell requested the 911 call and radio traffic from the initial check well-being for this case from the Weld County Commission and dispatch. On 9/5, the requested CD was received through the U.S. Postal Service and put into evidence by Evidence Supervisor Purcell. Okay, many people has asked, and I don't really know why they were even curious, because in my eye it's about the same thing really, but many people have asked, was it a 911 call that she made, or did she just call the police department? Well, here maybe that can answer your question if you've ever wondered that. And as you see, it was a 911 call that Nicole Atkinson originally made for the check well-being. I probably would have as well. You know, it's just easier to hit 911 instead of trying to look up the police department's phone number and such as that, you know, unless you've got it in your phone already, and most of us don't automatically have our local police department number just programmed in our phones, so most of us would have probably just 911. It's just easier. This is going to be the Greeley Weld Criminal Justice Records application for release of criminal justice record dispatch recording. And this is just where Amanda was requesting those to be put into the file. And this is another supplement report as well from Amanda Purcell. On 9/19, Evidence Supervisor Purcell received an email from Detective Baumover forwarded to him from Officer Manley, containing links to security footage and medical files from an ultrasound imaging office located in Erie. See Officer Manley's report. Evidence Supervisor Purcell attempted to access these links but was denied. Supervisor Purcell notified Detective Baumover of this, and he then provided contact information for Zach Brink, and that is the doctor that performed the ultrasound. Evidence Supervisor Purcell then contacted Zach to request access to the files through Google Drive, where the files were shared. The files were downloaded and saved to the case filed by Purcell. Nothing further. And this is from Dave Baumover to Brent Manley. And it says, Brent, Amanda is downloading the files from the links that Zach provided, but you'll need to complete a supplement for this since Zach sent the files to you directly. And this is the email. And Brent replies, Ultrasound Clinic for Shenan. And then this is from the doctor to Brent, to whom it may concern. We are a non-diagnostic prenatal ultrasound center in Erie, Colorado, and were made aware of what has happened to this family recently. This is truly a horrible situation, and we send our best to their family. The Watts family visited our location on 8/8/18 from 6:40 to 7:16 p.m. for an elective 3D/4D prenatal ultrasound. Here are all the files collected from their visit. Attached in the document are links to video clips for our security camera, the digital ultrasound files, and the family picture we acquired. We also have a sign-in form at the office if needed. Also, we prefer not to have any press involvement as to not scare our clients. So, we ask that you please do not publicize our information or reference us to the press. Thank you in advance for understanding. And just to add to another quote-unquote coincidence in this case, I find it kind of odd, and you may too, and as well, that we are just now getting to this part of the discovery, and we've been working on these readouts since around July, August, I can't even remember, but we're just now getting to this part. Now, this is what I find coincidental and very ironic in my opinion. It's just came out. There's a lot of talk and rumors and speculation going on about this DNA results that of baby Nico, and that is just now, like even today, that is a big deal. For whatever reasons. And it's so odd and coincidental in my opinion that we're just now getting to this part of the discovery on the same day that all of this has came about. And if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about right here, there's several videos out there about it. And there's this new person that, and most of you know who I'm talking about. I will not call any names, but I will use the initials that I saw everybody using, and it's KK. Well, she is allegedly a spokesperson for Chris Watts, and she is asking for the results of the DNA that Miss Rusek said on Dr. Phil that they did have, that Nico was Chris's child. Well, she also done an interview with Ronnie Watts, and he's not saw those results. So now it's up in the air, and there's all these questions of was it Chris's baby? Because obviously, or supposedly, or however you want to look at it, Shenan had a friend named Christopher as well. And since Miss Rusek just said yes, the baby was Chris's, and you know, people's wondering, well, is it this Chris or this Chris or this Chris? You know, to me, it's irrelevant. I mean, I can see where it would matter to the families. I mean, I'm just saying, you know, I am just saying, I can see where it would matter to the families. That said, to us out here, I don't see that it matters. If it was Chris or this Chris or that Chris, I mean, you know, it really doesn't matter to us. It's not going to change anything about what happened, right? Now, I can see where, you know, if Chris started questioning it or whatever, and he wanted to see the results, or his family, I guess I could see, you know, them wanting to know. But as far as us out here, it doesn't matter. I mean, really, it's not our business. It is not our business if it's this Chris's or that Chris's. It doesn't matter. Nico was a person. He was a baby. That's what matters. It doesn't matter if Nico dad was Elvis Presley, right? It doesn't matter. He was a person. That's what matters. But you know, that's on us. But as far as the family goes and the two families, yeah, I mean, I can see why they would want to know, but I don't know. If it was me, I would just say, you know, here's the results. You know, let's throw these rumors to rest. But that's not my decision, and I'm sure there's reasons for everything, and those reasons are not my business. So I don't know. I don't know, and to be honest, it doesn't even matter, in my opinion. Okay, moving right along. I will say this. I don't see why the big deal had to be through all over YouTube and a whole video made about it, asking the Ruseks to show the proof and this exploiting it out like that. I mean, come on, just contact them privately. I'm being honest there. I don't see why it had to be put on a public platform for all to see the request. Just get with them privately, you know. It's none of our business. So why make it our business? Anyway, that's enough about that. Okay, going on down, this is going to be the links where you could have, or where they can go and see the footage and the photos they took of the family at the ultrasound. And yes, it was an elective ultrasound. It's not one her doctor ordered. It's not one her actual prenatal doctor gave her. This is one of those 4Ds that you electively go take, and you pay for. It's not, I don't even think insurance covers those. It's like an elective kind of thing. It's not a mandatory. It's not needed. None of that kind of stuff. It's something you do because you want to. Okay, moving on down. This is another supplemental report. And it says on August the 15th, 2018 at 22:15 hours, and that is 10:15 p.m., I, Officer Manley, assisted Officer Walgie and Sergeant Bakes, both of the Frederick Police Department, with executing a search warrant on the home of Chris Watts. I left the residence and helped Brad from Brad's towing and recovery secure the vehicle Chris Watts was driving. I sealed the vehicle with evidence tape prior to Brad arriving to tow the vehicle to his secured lot. I ensured the evidence tape on the vehicle was still in place when the truck left the scene. I returned to the house and met with Officer Walgie. I assisted with collection of some bedding from the master bedroom. I carried the plastic bags from the upstairs to the bottom floor. I assisted with looking at the baby monitor from the master bedroom and taking videos of what the camera would have seen if the babies were in the room. I assisted Officer Walgie with collection of the baby monitor from the master bedroom. I was wearing a body camera at the time I was in the residence, and that recording has been added to this report. I left prior to all the items being removed from the house and did not see where the items went. And I will be uploading those parts of the discovery in another video. What I've been doing is trying to get the footages and the body cam footages all put on the channel as well in a certain playlist of body cam footage. So you all will have those if you would like to look at them. I know a lot of you have already saw them. I've already got the comments. Why are you putting these here? I've done seen these. Well, not everyone has saw them, and I think it's easier if you have like one channel that you can just go to the playlist if there's a certain thing you want to see, and there it is. And I think that's better and more convenient for you guys. Since we're reading this entire discovery, I feel like that you should have access to not just this part of it, but all of it. And so that is why on each thumbnail and in the title, I will put the date and even the officer, if it has it in the discovery, which officer's cam it is. So if you've already seen it and you don't want to see it again, just make sure you read the title and the thumbnail, and you'll see that, hey, I've done saw this. I don't even want to click on it, right? Okay, moving right along. This is another supplement report, and it is out there. But it's in the discovery, so we're going to read it. And this is Officer Albert Ian. And it says on September the 20th, 2018, at approximately 17:30 hours, and of course that is 5:30 p.m., I was advised by Weld County Dispatch to contact Daniel Franzarek by phone regarding information on the Chris Watts investigation. I called Daniel, who said he resides in New York City, and he had a theory about this case. Daniel believes there is a connection between Chris Watts and the Zodiac Killer from the early 1970s. Daniel then continued to make several incoherent statements regarding Chris's late wife possibly being a lover of a male named James Darnell Olson, who also may have links to the Zodiac Killer. Additionally, Chris may not be the father of these children and that the Olsen party may be their biological father. Daniel did not provide any factual information about the matter. He said this was only a theory and I could take it for what it was worth. Nothing further at this time, Sergeant Albert. So, seeing you really don't hear anything about this part of the discovery, it is assumed that even Officer Albert wrote it down, filed it because he's supposed to, that's his job, and never thought another thing about it. Just saying. Okay, moving right along. Another supplement report. This is Detective Balmover, September the 21st, 2018. The following information was documented at the time it was gathered. The date of this report is not indicative of when the investigation occurred. On September the 10th, I transported the following items to the Northern Colorado Regional Forensic Laboratory for forensic examination. Evidence item number 98 is Chris Watts' work cell phone. It is a black iPhone 5S model with evidence tag number. This phone was used by the defendant when the crimes allegedly occurred and was seized incident to arrest. Evidence item number 99 is Chris Watts' personal cell phone. It is a black iPhone with evidence tag. This phone was used by the defendant when the crimes allegedly occurred and was seized incident to arrest. Evidence number 100 is Shenan's cell phone. It is a rose gold iPhone with evidence tag. This phone was used by the victim when the crimes allegedly occurred and was recovered on 8/13. Evidence item number 104. Nicole Kessinger's cell phone. It is a black iPhone 6 with evidence tag number. This phone was in Kessinger's possession during the time of an alleged affair with the defendant and when the crimes allegedly occurred. Forensic examination reports are pending. Nothing further. Detective Balmover. Evidence submitted receipt. And this is just the receipt where he turned over these evidence to the forensics. Going on down, we got another supplement report, no property. And this was done on September the 21st, 2018. The following information was documented at the time it was gathered. The date of this report is not indicative of when the investigation occurred. On September the 17th, I received from Nicole Nikki Kessinger via email her Verizon phone statement for the period of August the 14th, 2018 through September the 13th, 2018. Kessinger included the following statement in the body of the email. Dave Balmover. I initially offered to provide my phone records to CBI for the requested time frame your team is investigating. You should already have all of my phone records through 8/13. Please see attached reports for my new billing statement, which includes calls on August the 14th. This should be the last date required. Let me know if you have questions or require anything further. Thank you. Best regards, Nicole Kessinger. The statement shows 5 separate events when Kessinger corresponded with Watts on 8/14 through 2:07 a.m. The phone number recorded is Chris's number, which is Watts' personal cell phone number. I entered the phone statement into the digital case file. Nothing further. Okay, moving on down. This is from Dave to Amanda Purcell, and I guess he forwarded it to her. So he forwarded it to Amanda. And this is going to be a copy, and this is the bill. Well, it does show she did get her a new phone. And this September bill, August bill, August bill, she is making, this is her first payment on her new device. She's making her first payment in September, so she got her a new phone August the 14th, somewhere around somewhere around there, she got a new phone. And here is the phone log. And this is the phone record, and it looks like to me that 12:08 a.m. August the 14th, Chris called her, and I'm assuming that's around the time or close to it he got back to the Thayers, because they said they were there very long, and they waited out in the car for him, and then he followed them to their house, and that's where he stayed that night. So I'm assuming that's when he got back to the Thayers, and wherever he was going to sleep with the bedroom, and he called her 31 minutes. And I can just assume that is, she was probably telling him, they're here, they're at my house, they're thinking you're going to come over here, because it says earlier in the discovery that they did assume that's where he was going to go when he left the police department that night. So they had officers kind of around her apartment waiting for him to show up, but he didn't. He went to the Thayers, and I'm sure that's where that call was going, and I'm sure there was a lot of freaking out, and I'm sure he was like telling her, I got to pick my dad up tomorrow at the airport, and they want me to take a polygraph, and blah, blah, blah. And so then, after that 31-minute call, she calls him back at 1:12 a.m., and she only talks for 3 minutes. And then at 1:51, he calls her back, and it's only for like 8 minutes. Then there at 2:06 a.m., he calls her back again for 1 minute. According to this phone record, the last time she spoke to him would have been, because she did, she claimed this is the last time she talked to him at 2:07 a.m. because at 6:50 p.m. or a.m., 6:50 a.m., I'm assuming she was on her way to work there, and she calls her mom. So, and that's her mom, yeah. So anyway, that's that. Okay, and going on down here to these, and I don't see any Chris anymore. Of course not. He is in jail during all this. But she's pretty notorious for those 1 minute calls. It's just 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. I don't have many 1 minute calls. I just don't. Do you have many 1 minute calls? I don't. She has many 1 minute. It's either 1 minute or very long calls. And this is her future payment schedule or whatever. And this is a supplement report from Detective Baumover, September the 21st. The following information was documented at the time it was gathered. The date of this report is not indicative of when the investigation occurred. On September the 18th, I received from Linda Glantz, the Frederick Court Clerk, an email containing a copy of a 2014 traffic summons that was issued to Shenan Watts on February the 8th of 2014. I forwarded a digital copy of the summons to the Frederick Records Supervisor, Amanda Purcell, for entry into the digital case file. Nothing further. So it must be a speeding ticket or something like that. And okay, and this is just a copy of said traffic case, court case that she went to court on. And it looked like it happened on February the 10th, and the case was closed on January the 22nd. 2014 it happened, 2015 it closed. Arraignment on the traffic, and she entered a guilty plea. She was driving a defective or unsafe vehicle. She had to pay $120 and then court costs and all that she had to pay, and she ended up paying with credit card. Shenan King. So at the time, her last name was still King, or maybe her driver's license was probably still in the name King. Maybe it just wasn't time to renew them yet and change her name on them. So on February the 8th, 2014, at approximately 8:20 p.m., I was parked at Puritan Way at Highway 52, monitoring the traffic signal lights when I observed a white color vehicle traveling westbound on Highway 52 and failed to stop for the red light. The said vehicle Entered the intersection after the signal light turned red. The weather was clear, roads were dry, and traffic was light. The traffic signal appeared to be working correctly. Upon contact with the driver said, "Why did you pull me over?" And I informed her she failed to stop at the red light. She stated I have a baby in the back seat and I was not going to slam on my brakes. The driver was issued a summons. End of report. Todd Norris. And obedience to official traffic control device, drove defective or unsafe vehicle. Okay, moving on down. This is another supplement report. On Friday, September the 21st, 2018, Officer Lyons responded to 2825 Saratoga Trail for a report of suspicious activity. Dispatch advised the following. Reporter got a message from an unknown person that her deceased daughter's back door is open at her house. This is the home of Shenan Watts. I walked the perimeter of the home. All doors and windows are secure and there is no sign of forced entry to the home. At approximately 1950 hours, and that is 7 p.m. or 7:50 p.m., I again responded to the residence to assist Sergeant Manley. After the arrival of more officers, we performed a search of the inside of the home. We received information that the lights were on inside the home. They had not been on prior to this evening, and a neighbor had video footage showing an unknown female walking up to the front of the house but not leaving. The house was clear and all lights were turned off, and doors and windows were locked when we exited. Nothing further. Officer Lyons. I did a complete video on this particular call and situation here, which I will link at the end of this video. It is very interesting. In the video, I also show the footage of when they're going through the house and looking, and you can tell the officers, if you haven't saw it yet, you'll know what I'm talking. I mean, you have to see it. If you have seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The officers seem very, on edge and kind of tense and almost nervous looking through the house. It's a really creepy feeling, just to be honest, inside the house this night. And the officers actually did see this on Nate's cam footage, but we were never shown the actual footage they're talking about here of the dark-haired lady entering the home. We don't have it in the discovery. Okay, going on down. Officer Lyons again. I requested to retrieve video surveillance from the Conoco gas station located on Highway 52 and the Home Depot department and Jake Jabs Boulevard from 8:10 midnight to present time 8:14. The store clerk at the gas station stated only a supervisor has access to the video surveillance and a supervisor will not be in until the next morning. A flash drive was left with the store clerk along with my business card. Upon arrival at the Home Depot, I spoke to the man who informed me she did not have access to the video surveillance at the store. The manager stated she would have to request the video footage from corporate. I left a business card and asked that the footage be sent to my email. Nothing farther. Officer Lyons. Going on down, we got another supplement report. On September the 21st, 2018, at about 18:05 hours, I, Sergeant Manley, was advised by Weld County Dispatch of a suspicious incident at 2825 Saratoga Trail. I was advised that the reporter, Sandy, stated that she got a text message from an unknown number, and the text stated that the back door to 2825 Saratoga Trail was open. Sandy said that there should not be anyone in or near the house at this time. I arrived at the house with Officer Lyons. We walked up to the front of the house and tried to open the front door. The door was secure. I looked through the windows on both sides of the door and did not see anything out of place or any sign that someone had made entry into the house. Officer Lyons and I walked around the front of the house to access the gate to the backyard. I tried to pick up on both garage doors to ensure they were still secure. As we walked around the house, I was looking at all windows and screens. I did not see anything out of place or that would indicate that someone gained access to the house from the windows. We walked around the back of the house and I noticed that on the back door that the screen door was slid open. I walked up the steps and observed that the door was closed and that there was a security bar in place preventing anyone from entering through the door. The curtains were in place and did not seem disrupted. After looking to see that all windows and doors appeared secure in the back of the house, we walked back up front. As I was walking by the garage, I noticed that the garage lights were on. I did not recall that the lights were on when I walked up the first time. The house appeared secure at this time, and I did not see any indication that someone had been in or around the house. Officer Lyons and I cleared without incident. Then, at about 1951 hours, which is 7:51 p.m., I was contacted by dispatch again. I was told a Frank Rusek called in stating that he spoke to the neighbor Nate, and according to Frank, Nate stated that the garage lights were still on and they had not been on in days past. I responded back to the residence and spoke with Nate. He was able to show me video from his Xfinity home security system on his phone. He showed me that a female walked up to the house at about 9 a.m. and was seen walking up to the front door. There is no video of the female ever leaving the area, and shortly after, there is a black SUV that is seen passing the house slowly. Nate is able to show me 3 different videos showing this black SUV going slow by the house shortly after the female was seen walking to the front door. I did not see anyone leave the vehicle and approach the house and did not see anyone come from the house and get into the vehicle. I was able to use a ladder that Nate provided and looked into the top windows of the garage. I did not see anything that indicated anyone was in the garage, and it did not appear that anyone went through anything in there. Nate explained that he had spoken with other neighbors in the area, and they also had not seen any lights on in the garage in the last few days. While I was looking in the windows, I pushed on the garage, sounding an alarm. I spoke to Frankie by phone, and he told me that he did not think the lights should have been on either. I told him about the alarm, and he stated that he did not think the alarm was set when he left the residence a few weeks prior. He asked if we would clear the house and make sure that no one was in the house. They provided me with the door code for the front door. I explained that I would get a few more officers at the house and we would make sure there was no one there. Officer Lyons, Officer Perez, and Officer Cooksey arrived on scene with the image of the party walking up to the door and not seen leaving the house and the lights on in the garage. I wanted to make sure we cleared the house as safely as possible. All 5 of us walked up to the front door. I put in the door code and unlocked the front door. I opened the door and made several announcements. Frederick Police, anyone in the house. If you're in the house, make yourself known. I did not hear or see anything in the house. I made those announcements several times while we worked through the house, clearing room by room. We did not locate anyone in the house and did not observe anything out of place or something that was obviously missing. We checked all cabinets and closets along with rooms. As we left the house, the garage lights were turned off and all of the lights we turned on while searching the house were turned off as we left the residence. I was able to secure the front door to the house and check to make sure the door was locked. I spoke with Nate again and advised him that there was no one in the house and that if he would be able to look at his cameras again to see if he could see when the female left the area, if there was a vehicle associated. As on 9/22, I have not heard back from Nate. I was wearing a body camera during this time. The audio and video recording have been added to this report. And as I say, I do have that in a video of its own, and I will link it at the end of this video. Now, here's the thing. He mentioned several times that he also saw this lady walking up to the house. The lights were not on, and then they were on, so they definitely thought someone was in that house. And I also talk about the black SUV in the video, and ironically, there was someone closely connected to this case, and there definitely was a black SUV in the driveway of this person's home. So, and that would be Nicole Kessinger's mother at the time. You know, that is where she lived. She doesn't live there anymore, but yes, there was a black SUV and a small gray truck that sits at her house. I mean, you know, is it a coincidence? I don't know, but there absolutely is, and I kind of show that in the video I'm talking about. I'm going to link to this one. Okay, going on down, we have another supplement report, September the 22nd, and this is from Officer Dave Baumover. The following information was documented at the time it was gathered. The date of this report is not indicative of when the investigations occurred. During the week of September the 10th, I spoke with CBI Lab Manager Aaron Koning regarding the possibility of obtaining Shenan's makeup for comparison with the residue discovered on the bed sheets that were recovered from the kitchen trash cans. I informed Aaron I recalled seeing a makeup type bag in Shenan's suitcase during one of the consensual searches I was involved with. It should be noted this is the same suitcase that Shenan used for her weekend business trip to Arizona. With the knowledge Frank and Cindy Rusek were returning to Colorado to collect Shenan's personal belongings, I contacted them to request consent to search Shenan's suitcase when they returned to the house, and learned Frank took the suitcase back to North Carolina from his previous trip to Colorado. When I asked Frank about Shenan's makeup case, he confirmed it was still in the suitcase and that they had not opened it yet. When I asked to take custody of the makeup bag, Sandy and Frank both agreed to bring it and its contents back to Colorado on the 9/22/18. At approximately 10 a.m., I met with Sandy and Frank at the Watts residence. Once inside, Frank opened his suitcase and handed me Shenan's makeup bag. I recognized it as the same high-gloss purple bag I observed previously in Shenan's suitcase during the residential search. Additionally, a photo was taken by Frederick Officer Walgie on 8/15 at 7:41 a.m. Show that the contents of Shenan's suitcase and her purple makeup bag is clearly visible. I entered the makeup bag into evidence pending transfer to the CBI lab for comparison testing, nothing further. Okay, they're going to go this extra mile, and which is great. I think that was a wonderful idea on Detective Baumover's, kudos to him. That was a wonderful idea to think, well, let's just, compare her makeup with this makeup on this bed sheet, right? So he obviously wasn't just taking Chris's word about the mascara. He wanted to know for certain that was Shenan's makeup on those bed sheets. Okay, the girls didn't wear makeup, right? So it's not going to be their makeup. So It would have to be Shenan's, right? Or did Detective Balmover have some kind of thought in the back of his mind that maybe someone else could have been there, and it could have been their makeup and not Shenan's? Did that thought cross his mind? Is that possibly part of the reason they went to Wisconsin to talk to Chris? To confirm, or try to confirm, or try to give their own self some closure about a certain someone, because they couldn't get closure from the case, I guess. But obviously Detective Balmover had doubts, or maybe not even doubts. He just wanted to feel certain that was Shenan's makeup. And if that's not the case, why else would he do that? The girls obviously didn't wear makeup. The only females that lived in that home was Shenan and the girls. Chris didn't wear makeup, So, obviously he had a question about something. I'm just saying. I mean, that's a lot of steps to do if you would be like, oh, well, that's Shenan's makeup. He already said she was crying. Obviously, Detective Balmover had other hunches or possibilities in the back of his mind. So, I've never heard what the results came back with that he had done there. I would love to know them, but I have not heard them. So, that's that. Okay, moving on down. And this is going to be Detective Balmover's request for laboratory examination, matching her makeup to the makeup on that sheet. So obviously he didn't take it 100% back that was Shenan's makeup. He wanted proof that was Shenan's makeup. And moving on down, 8/13, and this again is Detective Balmover. On 8/13/2018, a triple homicide of Shenan Watts and her two daughters occurred in their Frederick home. I respectfully submit the following items for forensic testing. Item 133 is Shenan's makeup bag with makeup. It was voluntarily surrendered by Frank Rusek, who is Shenan's father. King-size bedding recovered from the kitchen trash of the Watts residence contained residue believed to be makeup, possibly eyeshadow. Requesting comparison and analysis testing of the items in the makeup bag with the residue discovered on the bed sheets and pillowcases. I would love to know what the results of that came back to be, or was it even completed? I don't know. Okay, moving on down, Officer Perez. This is a supplemental report that was filed 7/23 on 9/21/2018 at approximately 21:05 hours, 9:05 p.m. I assisted Sergeant Manley at 2825 Saratoga Trail regarding an unknown person seen around the residence. Upon arrival, Sergeant Manley advised the neighbor from 2905 had video of a vehicle pulling up to the address of 2825 Saratoga Trail. And then an unknown female stepped out of the vehicle. Sergeant Manley advised the cameras never show the female leaving the address, and the inside garage light was turned on when they are normally off. I entered the home along with Officer Kate, Sergeant Manley, Officer Cooksey, and Officer Fratelli. Officer Manley made loud announcements prior to entering the home and did not hear anything. Officers cleared the main floor of the home and did not find anything. Officers then cleared the garage, basement, and then the second floor of the house and did not locate anyone in the residence. Officer Manley gave a loud verbal prior to entering any areas in the home, but no response. Nothing appeared to be out of place in the home. All lights inside the home were turned off after officers finished clearing the house. Nothing further. Okay, now when he was dispatched there, he was told that the vehicle was actually seen pulling up to 2825 Saratoga, and the unknown female got out of the vehicle, walked up to the door, and most likely into the house because she was never seen leaving the door. So, yeah. Okay, this is going to be a supplement report from Jones, dated August the 27th. It's a Chad McNeil follow-up. It says 7:30 a.m. I'm assuming Chad McNeil arrived at Survey at 7:30 a.m. maybe. I don't know. But it says, Monday morning, quote, man, it's hot out, unquote, and then not very hot. Watts mentioned, quote, shouldn't have worn shirt, unquote. Troy said new boots, proud of new boots, and had older boots on. So, as I told you at the beginning of this discovery, a lot of times this is so mixed up and jumbled up, and it's definitely not in the order like we were reading a book, so we just have to read it as we see it, right? And read it as we get to it. And here this is stuck way down here in this. So, but this is a follow-up with Chad McNeil. So, he says that Chris mentioned he shouldn't have worn a shirt. So, I don't know. Anyway, moving on down. This is Coder, Unclassified, FBI. Okay, we're going to stop right here because we're getting into Coder's stuff, and this is the FBI report. So we're going to stop here on part 31. Coming back on part 32, it looks like it's going to get pretty interesting. And I hope you guys found this interesting, and maybe you learned something that you didn't already know. The Zodiac Killer tip they had. I don't think a lot of people's heard that, which I do find that very much out there, and I would have also not gave much thought to it myself, just like the officer didn't. Now, that said, I do find it very interesting about the dark-haired lady. The officers also saw the same footage Nate has, and they saw her going in as well. That Sandy Rusek had received a text that the back door was open, and the text was from an unknown number. It's just, and then, the black SUV, the police also did see that in the video footage. And then on into the whole makeup and bum over being, in the back of his mind wondering, is that Shenan's makeup? Is that even her makeup? Why would he think that? Why did he think there was a possibility someone else was in the house? And he is also the one that done that test to see if someone would have enough time to be inside the house and run out the garage door before it shut. So, Detective Baumover, just looking through this discovery and reading some of the things that he has ordered and had done and this and that, it does appear to me, in my opinion, that he was not convinced fully that Chris was alone. Is that the way you feel from the things that you have seen and that he did during this investigation before the investigation was stopped? I mean, to me, it seems like he was trying to look at possibly other avenues, and that he didn't feel like maybe Chris was at the house with just Shenan and the girls. Why else would he want that makeup tested? Anyway, thank you guys. I hope you learned something new here, and stay tuned for part 32. It looks like it's going to be getting into some interesting things, and until next time, guys, we would really appreciate a thumbs up, a like, share it with your groups, and you guys have a great day, night, evening, wherever you may be. This is Unjustified.